Hi, there's Homay from Spitfire Audio, and I've just been playing with the Zimmer Strings library in our new GUI, and it's absolutely amazing. We've recorded over 300 players in the beautiful Lyndhurst Air Studio, and the combination of people playing at the same time is just a texture I've not heard before and is really incredible. So I've written a little composition here and thought initially I would write something rather big and grand, but the more I played with it, the more I thought I want to write something really quiet, because it would be really interesting having all these people playing at their quietest. So I have some tremolo harmonics here. Then I also used some long super flotandos. Usually how I start a composition is I try to find some chords that I really like, and then I try to shape those and build from there. So I came up with some fairly dense chords, and I've taken out some of the notes initially just to strip it back at the beginning to be able to grow from there and build up from there. So I've got an interval and I've played those in the mid-range, and to open up the piece a little bit more, I used the tremolo harmonics further up in the range, and then also in the opposite direction for the lower frequencies, I used some pizzicatos in the basses that sound like this. At this point already I wanted to bring in a bit of pace and indicate the tempo, so I've used some shorts in the violins. Some pizzicato Bartok. And some normal pizzicatos. And I think that combination of shorts gave it a really nice bit of depth. I then also have coming in here a melody for which I used consorts. I find the tone a bit sharper, so I used it for the melody because I thought it would come through a little bit better over this patch of pads that I've used here with the flotandos. I also have then the cello line coming in, piano at the same time, and also trying to build that section a little bit. I'm moving over from the super flotandos to normal longs. And you can hear it helps really opening up that section over there. So this is what it sounds. So I had these two chords at the beginning going back and forth, and I'm bringing in a new chord to indicate a change and also to bring it right back down again. So I had a little bit of a build here, and then I wanted to bring it right back down again, also using some tremolo harmonics to tie these sections together. I generally find that having something hanging sometimes up in the air as sustained notes just helps binding those two sections together a little bit better. I then come in with an arpeggiated line on the Hans Zimmer piano here to help building everything again. So I'm doing pretty much the same thing that I've done in the beginning, starting off with the super flatandos, introducing the tremolo harmonics over here, and trying to build up again from there. And I used the arpeggiated line here. I'm a big fan of arpeggiators generally, just because I think you can play the same chord over and over again without sounding too static. There's always a bit of motion in there. This is what the next section sounds like. It sounded a little bit empty, so I introduced the bass, which filled it out really nicely, and I have these two chords playing here. It's an F minor going down to an E diminished and then back up to the F. And what I've done in the bass, I tried to move away from it rather than moving together in block chords, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So I've used these collegno trattos here, which is basically playing with the backside of your bow, creating this really soft texture, which I find really beautiful, but I've only used it as texture there because I'm fading out with everything else. At that point, I don't want to go into nothing. I want to have something that holds the little bit of tension that I do have there up. So it's really, really delicate there. I'm then moving on playing a melody in the next section, keeping in mind that I want to have more than 100 players playing at their quietest. So I mixed up some of the techniques using some long super flotandos, some soft consort, and some normal longs, and together they sound really beautiful. I then repeat that phrase later on, but still wanted to build a little bit more before I finished that piece, so I introduced some pizzicatos again in the violins to play on the one, giving it a bit more of that drive and also have a sense of bit of an urgency in there. I then also have the basses coming in and a small contra melody playing at the same time. So if I quickly show you the melody line, you can see that in the last two notes of that phrase, it's going from the B flat down to the G, and then the second time round I'm holding it on the B flat, letting the contra melody line finish that phrase by going down to the G here. Just to make it a little bit more interesting, and I think it just intertwines nicely between those melodies. I then only faded out all the strings and let the piano finish off the piece. Other than that, the piece is pretty naked. I just really enjoy being able to just dive into the patches, just write with it straight away, and the GUI allows it to be so approachable and really easy to play with. The only other thing I am looking out for is the microphone positions that I'm using. You've got loads of them to choose from in this library, And one that I'm really fond of is the gallery microphone positioning within the Air Studios. I think it's just another tool that helps you open up your piece just a little bit more. Let's listen from the top. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you for watching.